Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Breakdown Besties podcast. This is episode number 3 that we're recording. We don't know which episode you're watching, but hi, welcome back, or welcome if this is the first time we're showing you an episode, or it's the first time you're seeing one of our episodes. I think that makes sense.
I think you're predicting the algorithm, so
Am I?
we shouldn't do that.
I'm not predicting the algorithm. I'm saying that what if we recorded this as episode number 3, but we uploaded as episode number 1? We don't know what we're going to do.
So you're saying we'll keep editing this line in every
No,
video.
yes, it's just this video. This is our little Easter egg.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Breakdown Besties podcast. I'm Ananya,
I'm Akshay.
and together we have been writing for maybe a combined 14 years in Bollywood. We've written shows like Mismatched, Wedding.com, Ishq in the Air, Rana Naidu, Inside Edge, and a bunch of other stuff that got stuck in development hell, but maybe will see the light of day in our grandchildren's generation. Who knows? So, our goal with the Breakdown Besties podcast is to break down films, not break down. It's to break down
Yeah,
films
no.
and do it in the way they do it in film school, where you watch a movie and then you see what's good about it, what makes it work, what makes it not work in some moments, and how can we learn and analyze from doing that. So we're here, we're doing this as an exercise for ourselves, and hopefully you'll come along for the ride and get something out of it too. And today, the film we're going to be breaking down is a classic, to say the least. And it's one Akshay and I rewatched because hashtag nostalgia. And
Yeah.
it has our favorite friendly furry from another planet. One of the best Bollywood has ever created. I think the only one, because I don't remember any other friendly from another planet. Do you?
Yeah, even I don't think so. No,
Right.
they haven't.
Okay, so the movie we're watching today is Koi Mil Gaya. I can't say that with a straight face because I can't believe we actually broke it down. But there were some good parts to it, some great elements which we can learn from. So
Yeah. I mean, it's said to be the first sort of uh this genre. Would you call it sci-fi? A little bit sci-fi.
IMDb calls it sci-fi. Google calls it sci-fi.
Huh.
Ananya does not call it sci-fi.
How would you call? What genre would you put this in?
It is a drama, romantic drama with an
Hmm.
alien element in it.
Oh,
That is
okay.
my take on it. So
Yeah, but I think they did try a little bit in the whole science fiction thing. Like, the way the movie starts, they had the origin story segment and all that. So maybe, yeah.
yeah, it is definitely a genre mashup. I think it was a very intentional choice from the writing team and the
Hmm,
producers to not make this
hmm.
a 100% science fiction film because I think what year was this film in? 20, 2000 or
2003.
another 2003 film. Okay, Munna Bhai also, which we reviewed, was
Yeah,
2003. Good
yeah,
one, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, 2003, I don't think there was as much awareness in the masses of what a sci-fi film makes. And for that, they
Yeah.
knew that we would need like drama, we would need romance. I wouldn't call it a rom-com, but like a romance
Hmm.
element in there to draw the audience in. Like just another world and an alien wouldn't hold that same appeal for Indian audiences at that point. So I
Yeah.
believe that I don't discredit our writers in any way. I believe they're very knowledgeable. After all, this was written by a veritable galaxy of stars. Rakesh Roshan,
Yeah.
Sachin Bhowmick, Hani Irani, Robin Bhatt, Javed Siddhiqui. Like, these five together cannot get it wrong. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very intentional choice on their part to kind of take the idea of a sci-fi film and then wrap it into what makes Bollywood or what made Bollywood Bollywood at that time.
Yeah. I think they focused a lot on accessibility and keeping the emotion intact and not muddle up uh, the science fiction elements of a film to compromise with the emotion.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. That's accessibility right there.
but okay, I want to before we jump in, I want to ask, had you watched this movie before?
Koi Mil Gaya, like when I was 8 years old, yes, 22 years ago.
But did you go ahead and watch it in
Yeah,
theater? And did you have any recollection of it?
yeah. So this movie was very
Why are you smiling? Why are you
because
laughing?
I, to be perfectly honest, was very scared of Jadoo growing up. Okay. I would have nightmares about him and that sound. Oh, fuck. It was the stuff of my nightmares. I remember I was with my cousin and he was 10 years older than me. We were having a sleepover and he was 18. I was 8 and I woke up in the middle of the night going, Bhaiya, I had a nightmare about Jadoo. It was. But I think watching this film as an adult, while this sound did like re-traumatize me, like I was actually like I could feel these like chills creeping up on my body in the moment, like in the opening sequence, you hear om. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. But then halfway through the film, when you see Jadoo, I'm like, okay, this guy is cute. He's actually cute and playful, and like there's nothing like scary about him in any way. But even the
Yeah.
moment when he's hiding and they haven't revealed him fully, and you see him in the shadows, that freaked me out. Like, uh, yeah. So yes,
Okay. It is a kid-centric film, I guess, then.
yeah. Okay, so let's recap and give a quick synopsis of the film before we get into the logline, hero's journey, and all the technical things of the craft. So the synopsis of the film. Hritik Roshan plays Rohit, a kid with intellectual disability. He's about a 20-year-old man, but he has an IQ of a 12-year-old. He wants to be a normal kid, but unfortunately, his mom was in a car accident when his dad died when he was in her womb. She fell womb ke bal out of the car.
Mm,
And
mm.
Hritik was stuck with an intellectual disability for the rest of his life. The story picks up again. I don't know, I think 20 years later. Rekha's ageless, so we really can't tell from her whether like she
Yeah.
aged or not. But, I
Yeah.
think Hritik's about 20, but he's still in seventh grade and he just wants to be a normal kid. But he gets bullied by the town commissioner's son slash bully Raj, who is also 20-ish but acts his age. And
Mm.
he falls in love with Preity Zinta's character, Nisha. He wants a relationship with her, but she doesn't see him as anything more than a. How would you describe she sees him? Like she hangs out with him a fair bunch,
I think there is a little bit of a lens of pittiness, a little
right?
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Then one day, Ritik discovers his dad's computer, and he manages to play around with it and summon an alien. That alien is so grateful that Ritik has saved him because the spaceship in which he came took off and left poor Jadoo here by himself. That he helps Ritik out with his powers and cures his issue. And
Yeah.
except that now the authorities are looking for Jadoo because it'll be a big breakthrough in answering all the questions of the universe if they can find this alien, dead or alive.
Yeah.
And now Ritik has to ensure that Jadoo is not caught by the authorities. And that is the synopsis of our film.
Yeah. Good job.
So the next thing I want to get into is the log line of the film. I think crafting the log line, as we've said in our earlier episodes, is the most fundamental and building block you can have for starting a film. Because when you have a log line, you have four crucial elements in one sentence, which essentially is your guiding light through writing the film. These four elements are conflict, flaw, or block or wound, however you want to call it, the goal, the external goal, and stakes. Now, what are each of these elements? Let's start with goal because that's the most important one. That's what every premises of a film is built on. It is the journey which the
Yeah.
character goes on to achieve something. What is he going to achieve? That is essential. That's why you get audience buy-in. That's why your trailers are made. That's how your film is marketed. So your goal, external goal, is quintessential. So your logline has to
Hmm.
contain it because the person reading it has to know what journey is this hero going on, right? The next one that we have is your character flaw and your conflict. I'm going to
Hmm.
talk about both of
Hmm.
these together because both of them oppose each other, right? So a flaw is something like, for example, if I am someone scared, right? Then I'm going to be forced to face my fear. So my flaw is the fact
Hmm.
that I'm scared, and the conflict is whatever I do to face my fear. So these are two
Hmm.
important elements, and these will show the person reading your log line even before they read the script that what little fights are we going to have, what conflict are we going to have, and conflict is what propels anything forward, right? Conflict is a challenge, and how does that hero solve that challenge is the most exciting part of our film. That's why we watch films. So this will show what the hero needs to overcome to achieve their goal. Two essential parts of the film. And the final one is stakes. Stakes are what they stand to lose should they not achieve their goal. But stakes are also should they what they should stand to lose if they don't have their character arc. If they don't choose to be
Hmm.
brave, for example, if I'm a scared person, I choose not to be brave. This is what I stand to lose.
Hmm.
So these are four elements. Now, based on that, I have a log line written down for this film.
Okay.
So I couldn't write this without laughing a bit, so I may laugh a bit now. But because you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I really thought about it,
Hmm.
and because of a technique called the moral choice, which I'll come to later when we're talking about character, but it really helped me see
Hmm.
this log line for what it was. Because when a
Hmm.
20-year-old man with the IQ of a 12-year-old is finally able to regain his mental and physical capabilities by harboring an alien left behind on Earth, he must do his best to protect the alien from being found out by the authorities, lest he go back to losing all his faculties.
I think that's great.
Yeah, but don't you feel like the inherent
Yeah, I see why you felt like
like uh,
laughing at it. And
I
yeah.
think it's also unique in a way where they're talking about this film is essentially about self-acceptance, right? That Hritik
Hmm.
has to, yeah,
Totally.
come and accept himself as I am someone who is not normal, quote unquote. And
Hmm.
they use an alien as a device
Yeah.
to make this happen.
It's yeah, and that's interesting because that alien only comes halfway through the film, you know? Otherwise, hadn't the film been about the alien, he would have come earlier. But that's just a crutch of sorts
Yeah,
to like what you said about leading to acceptance.
exactly. Yeah. And I also think he only comes at the halfway point because back then in 2003, we as Bollywood was still writing films as pre intermission, post intermission. We weren't looking
Hmm.
at it from a three-act structure point of view. So,
Hmm.
what would ordinarily be your crossing the threshold came at the
Hmm.
midpoint, and then things were rushed.
Hmm.
So, they used the whole first half of the film usually as a setup. So, yes, anyway, that is my breakdown of the log line.
Yeah, that's a good log line. I would understand why somebody want to like be interested to even read it. For sure.
Okay, so the next thing that we always do is our hero's journey.
Hmm. Yeah.
Take it away, Akshay.
Okay. So the hero's journey becomes your sort of the guiding map when you're writing to see if your characters are making the right choices or as and in fact if you as a writer are making the right choices while writing your story, because obviously you can get lost in it if you don't have an outline, you don't have a sense of where the story is going. So this is a great device to use to know if you're going in the right direction to come to the completion of your arc for your characters. So the very first step in your hero's journey is the ordinary life, where you come to know where your character is before anything happens to him. If like before the film starts, where is he in their life? And it's very important for us to know, because only then you'll be able to see his arc transformation, right? If like you don't know where he started from, how would you assess the end
Yeah.
if it's made a difference,
Yeah.
right? So now I wanted to ask this to you, Ananya. Like in movies like this, where there is an origin story, where would you call that origin story a part of the ordinary life?
No, no, I think that's
No,
no,
right?
that's the opening image. That's
Huh.
completely different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, correct. Even I think so, because I entered the theater when the accident had happened. I had still no context of what happened,
Yeah.
right? But but that's still like almost like a teaser for the audience, like, oh, this is something which you will explore in the film going forward, but not necessarily has a very impact on the direct storytelling of the film. Like it, in our case, it's not even like our main character is not even there in the opening sequence. So then I'll start the ordinary life segment based on when we see Rohit for the first
Yeah.
time. Uh, so what we understand is that uh, Rohit is this guy who, like you said, is in his like 20s, but he has some developmental disorders because of how his mother's had because of how his mother had an accident when he was in the womb, and because of that, he's never able to excel in his studies. He's not been able to move beyond seventh standard,
Yep.
and he feels horrible about
Yep.
it. And uh, you immediately relate to him here because he's very excited to enter the new class, and only when he realizes that he's not going to be able to move there, you feel his heartbreak for the first time. So you immediately like feel for our character. You build empathy for him, which I thought was done quite nicely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and we see him like, you know, we see his struggles, daily
Yeah.
struggles, like whether, he's being bullied, or, he thinks he's answered the question first in class because he's so excited, but you realize, oh, he was not the first at all. There were many hands up in the
Yeah.
air wanting to answer. Um, so, but this is the thing. I love watching a try hard on screen.
Yeah.
Uh, and so like again, as what I said, you immediately feel for
Hmm.
him, and how good is Hritik
Yeah.
Roshan
Oh,
in this
phenomenal.
sequence?
Phenomenal. He makes this film.
Yeah,
He fully makes this film.
yeah, yeah. So I would say this is what constituted the ordinary life for me
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this.
Absolutely. Yeah. The same. The same.
Okay, now the second point of the hero's journey is call to
Hmm.
action. It is when uh, our main character, our hero, is presented with a sort of a problem slash opportunity slash, how would I say,
Opportunity
some
to go after his
adventure.
goals. Yeah.
Yeah, opportunity to go after his goals. Now, in this one, uh, it's weird because we don't establish his goals are quite simple. Like it's not again goals which are like, oh, I'm gonna be the biggest, I don't know, say superstar of this country. Like it's not a tangible goal,
Hmm.
and hence like I find a little bit hard to ascertain the call to action in such movies.
Yeah.
But what I thought, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that they've done a little bit of reversal in this, where in like he is presented with that opportunity for when he's on the scooters with his
Hmm.
friends, uh, and he sees the bully gang coming from the opposite. Ideally, in a call to action would be where he doesn't fight them, but or like the no, sorry, I'm going to correct myself. Like he should have ideally not picked on that fight, but in this case, he
Hmm.
does.
Hmm.
And I thought like that opened a can of worms for him to go on in the story. So would that be the call to action for this? Do you think so?
I think I struggled with this too. And I realized that
Hmm.
because there are so many storylines going on in this film, there is the bully
Hmm.
Raj who he's trying to fight, there is Nisha who he's trying to
Hmm.
win, and then you have the alien. I
Yeah.
think given the fact that our alien is our main pull into the film, we have
Hmm.
to use him as a sense
Hmm.
of as our guiding light for determining the hero's journey.
Hmm.
So even like being bullied by Raj, I think it's part of his
Hmm.
ordinary world.
Right.
There's nothing different about it. He was always bullied.
Hmm.
Going after Nisha, while Nisha is introduced, that might be the call to action in the rom-com subplot, but it's not the call to
Hmm.
action in the main film because not getting a girl is again part of his ordinary life. These are very
Yeah.
normal things in his life. I think the real call to
Right.
action comes when his mum, when he discovers the computer.
Yeah. Even I've written
Yeah.
that. He the first time he sees his dad's
Yeah,
computer.
exactly. And then immediately you have like the refusal of the call because
Hmm.
before he can even like do anything with the computer, his friends say, "Come, come, we'll go like to that vet party and we'll crash that party and we'll get some free food." So instead of diving
Hmm.
into the call, he refuses it. He's like, "Yeah, whatever, this computer later on." Like,
Hmm.
so that is and hmm,
I I also felt that um the reason of the call was also that when he tries to take that computer class
all of that.
and
Yeah.
huh, and he's been told that you cannot understand computer,
Hmm.
like get out of my class. So it wasn't him refusing the
Yeah.
call, but the universe was against him to say that, oh, this is not up your alley. Please leave the classroom. Get out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Which is a good refusal of the call, right? Because what is refusal of the
Hmm.
call? It is the
Yeah.
fear, internal or external, that we have, because of which we
Hmm.
don't pursue our call to action. And here, absolutely, as
Hmm.
you said, his professor tells him that you're not good enough to do this. So that activates his fear. Who am I to handle this?
Hmm.
So that's why he refuses
Yeah.
the call. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. So the hmm.
And then I was going to go into meeting the mentor, which meeting the
Hmm.
mentor is a crucial point in your hero's journey where you meet someone who gives you the confidence, the little push, the nudge that you need, and will help you maybe throughout your journey with the skills, confidence, push, etc., to go on and
Hmm.
fight and take on and go after your goals. So in our case,
Hmm.
it is where Preity Zinta tells this one. Hritik, that I will teach you
Hmm.
how to use a computer. And I know you've been wanting to do it.
Hmm.
So come, let's go to your house.
Yeah.
They both go to his house and they play
Yeah.
around with it. And oh, mom happens. Creepy
Yeah.
sounds.
I'm noticing this trend. Like we did Munna Bhai
Yeah.
also, and now we're doing this. Is that both the times when the mentor, like the potential love interests, entered the film,
Yeah.
it was at meeting the
Mentor
mentor stage.
stage.
Like
Yeah.
when their presence is truly felt in the film.
Hmm.
So what maybe I can uh, analyze from this is that when we have the conflict of say man versus the world, and your romantic plot is the second subplot of the film, your female character or your potential love interest becomes your mentor to be able to take you through the journey for the film.
Oh man, the burden we put on women.
Yeah, and it's so problematic. Like,
Yeah.
right? It's because definitely it's implied that the woman character is not gonna have an arc.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I think it's a problem of the genre where uh, or like dated storytelling, you think?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think it could be a function of just economy of storytelling, where they need to,
Yeah,
have a romantic subplot, but they also need a mentor
yeah,
character. So I don't think I would
yeah.
like to believe it's not done intentionally. That it's just like it's easier to
Yeah.
combine the two characters than have a separate mentor
Yeah.
character and a separate woman who arcs,
Yeah.
etc.
Correct. Hmm.
Yep. And then the next one,
So,
yeah, crossing the threshold, right? When
yeah.
post meeting the mentor, our hero decides that I'm ready to go into this new world and explore
Hmm.
and go after my goal. And
Hmm.
they take one action, which is kind of like the point of no return. After they've taken that action, you
Hmm.
know that they are very much in the story world. And in our
Right.
film, it is when Hritik finds Jadoo. Hritik and Preity Zinta's
Hmm.
character, they find Jadoo after he's landed. And Hritik,
Hmm.
literally, I wrote the dialogue down here. Like, they even have the intermission where the two hands come together.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
चलोगे हमारे साथ, बनोगे हमारे दोस्त.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
couldn't be a more
Yeah.
clear crossing the threshold. Like literally, will you come into our world?
Hmm.
Someone from another world.
Hmm.
Can we
Hmm.
welcome you into ours? Then
Yeah.
we have test allies and enemies. Now, this is the point in your hero's journey where the hero gets introduced to the little challenges that he's going to face here and there and gets a better sense of the
Hmm.
world by facing these challenges and learns what his own powers are, what his own struggles are, what their weaknesses are. So you have a bunch of them over here. For example, what have I
Hmm.
written? The police go looking for Jadoo and they report to ISRO. He
Yeah.
just calls ISRO up. This
Yeah.
Indian Space Research Organization. Subramanian.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. Cool. And Jadoo having a nightmare of getting left behind by his
Hmm.
alien compatriots. Then the
Yeah.
ball flying into the house and the other kids discovering
Hmm.
Jadoo exists.
Hmm.
And yeah, they annoy Johnny Lever's character. So, what's the
Hmm.
ball?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, so you see, like they have to hide him, they have to but they also enjoy with him. They discover what his powers are and how they can have fun with him, but they also discover that these are the potential challenges of harboring a refugee alien, I guess.
Yeah.
Poor alien,
Correct.
yeah.
So then the next is the approach to the inmost cave.
Yeah.
Uh, is that point of the hero's journey where I personally think is when your hero feels existential, the max. When they realize, oh fuck, this is what I'm actually supposed to be doing,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Or like when he's put in that problem where he's just like, oh, I didn't think this is what I'll have to do. Like
Hmm.
it's when he's put, it's when you're, how do I say, you're the farthest from the like from where you started,
Yeah.
whether in terms of your rising action or falling action, whether whatever the way is. It's that point where the hero sort of asks questions to even himself a
Hmm.
little
Hmm.
bit. Uh, and I thought, is that the good description to approach the inmost cave? Did I miss something?
I feel like approach to the innermost cave, the keyword in approach to the innermost cave is the word approach. They are
Hmm.
not at the innermost cave yet because that innermost cave is the ordeal, which comes next. So these
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
bigger challenges which they start facing. It's not fun in games. It's not like test allies and enemies. They're not being tested anymore. Now that test has gone and turned into a challenge. So,
Hmm.
in my opinion, it's when the ante increases of what they're going to do,
Hmm.
but it's not the
Hmm.
biggest ordeal yet. So, for example,
Hmm.
I think in this film, it is when he's standing outside the classroom and he sees the turntable question on the chalkboard. And
Hmm.
everyone is like, he obviously can't answer it, but he answers it and they're shocked. They're like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
Then he
Hmm.
answers a question about in the computer lab. Then he has that
Hmm.
dance off with the
Yeah.
thing. So this is him approaching the innermost cave that he's facing bigger and bigger
Hmm.
challenges as a result of realizing what
Hmm.
his capabilities are from the last part, which is
Hmm.
test allies and enemies. And
Hmm.
and then because you realize what your capabilities are and you start beating these challenges, you also start taking on bigger challenges, and your enemy
Hmm.
also gets more irked, right? And that's when you get to the ordeal, where the enemy is like, "Acha chal tujhe dikhata hu." And this guy also is like, "Okay, I'm ready to like face the big ordeal." And that big ordeal is one that really challenges you. And in our film, I think the big ordeal is the basketball match,
Or match.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is it. And after that, you have the reward because they win the basketball match. The reward is when you have won something really big. You've realized what your capabilities are. You've realized what your arc also is in a way. And that could be true or false. Because in this scenario, I think it's false. Because you have to realize what your flaw is and be ready to confront it. In our film, Hritik has realized what his flaw is, but he's not confronting it. He's putting the band-aid in the name of Jadoo on it, saying that I don't have to confront my flaw. Now I'm a superhuman. Like I have this little alien who's gonna make me like normal. My IQ is coming back to what it should be. Like I'm physically strong again. Nisha is like falling for me. So the reward for that is he wins the basketball match, and he also goes and speaks to Nisha's parents.
Parents. Yeah.
And yeah, they talk, and he feels very intelligent. He talks about, he gives a speech about intelligence. And then you have the road back, which is when you have a little bit of peace. Like, okay, this is one, everything is going well. I don't think we have that in this movie in particular, because the moment he meets Nisha's parents, we go into the police realizing that Jadoo is somewhere here and he needs to be like caught dead or alive. And he's definitely in the area. So we don't have a moment of relief after the reward. So immediately after Nisha, he goes into the police chasing Jadoo and him having to hide him, all of that, the resurrection, and finally deciding that he needs to be returned home. They call him, they call the spaceship back, and Jadoo goes back. And he returns to his ordinary world, and now the return with the elixir, right? Which is very do ex machina in this film, but they had to do it because it's Bollywood.
Yeah. Of course. And it works. It totally works. You really root for him. You feel for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go ahead, I want to ask you something about the resurrection.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm talking this not from analyzing this film, but in general, like to chalk the arc out when we're writing something like this. So, when we're writing, should we chalk these plot points, which is of your resurrection, your this one, to the exact moment when that happens? Or like in a film like this, it's a sequence of events? Or either of it works? Because into my head, my question is, is the moment the hero decides that he's going to send the alien back and calling it a spaceship, or point number B to which he actually does it, or that doesn't matter. The choice matters.
Answer your question, I don't think it matters whether it's a sequence or a moment. Ideally, the moment when the hero makes that decision is when you know that you're going into that moment. And these are not, while we call them moments, they're actually segments on the journey, right? So everything can't be conveyed in a line of dialogue. That's why we have scenes. And so these things have to be taken and viewed over a sequence of things. And it also, like, it depends on the build up also, right? Like, you can do an ordinary world in one scene, or you can do it in 5 scenes if you have to keep building up pressure and showing how bad it can get. So it really depends, like, film to film, where it goes.
That makes sense, because then in a resurrection, the chapter of resurrection would be, let's say, multiple scenes, and you're saying the pressure is increasing, so the stake is also increasing so much. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they're coming closer to losing what's at stake. Okay, so that is our hero's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the next thing I want to dive into is character, which I think you talked about a little bit when you were talking about the ordinary world. And what I wanted to talk about here was two things. The first thing is character building techniques. Because as you said, they've been done very nicely in this film. And I want to talk about both Rakesh Roshan and Hritik Roshan's character. Because even though Rakesh Roshan's character is inconsequential, you don't see him after the opening image of the film, you still feel for him immediately. And why is it that you feel for him immediately? I identified three elements which make it so. A, he's very intelligent. He's more intelligent than the normal person. He's a scientist. So we like characters we either relate to or we aspire to as an audience. So they've done that very well, where they've made him someone we aspire to. Then they made him the underdog. He goes to whatever the space agency is in Canada where that is set. And they all laugh at him that, oh, the alien not only speaks your language, but he follows your religion, all of that.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think accurate white people representation, though. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
yeah. And so he's the underdog. So you make us feel, again, we feel for the underdog. And the third thing is he has a pregnant wife. So he's a family guy. Over here, what they've done is they've talked to cultural values and values of the time. They saw that this is an Indian film. What does an Indian audience value? They value a family man. They value a man who has a kid on the way, who cares about his family, all of that. So I think these are three elements which really make for a good character in Rakesh Roshan.
Yeah.
The next thing is Hritik's character, Rohit. Again, I think the first thing they do really well to make him likable is that they show others liking him. I think this is the quickest trick to making your character liked is by showing that they're liked by other people. It is the human version of petting the dog.
Yeah.
It's like the dog
Correct.
likes, we say that, oh, if my dog likes you, I like you.
So when Rohit's like he has so many friends who clearly like him so much, and they're always around him. So and plus his maths teacher also is like really appreciative of him that you tried like so good and you got the right answer. So yeah, get that.
Right? The second thing is they've shown the character vulnerable. We see his fears, his flaws. I can't not go to like the next class, and everyone's always pulling me. And he does take some amount of pity on himself, which is usually not an attractive trait. But they've set that off by making him playful. He will play a prank, and it's done with complete innocence. Right? Like, he has no problem, like, laughing most of the time. And if a character is mostly happy, you don't mind if they complain a little bit, right? And they're vulnerable. Then they become multifaceted. It's when you don't have these two facets, it's like getting on a call with a friend of yours who always complains. You don't want to talk to them anymore. But if they're mostly like a happy person and they complain sometimes, you're like, yeah, you're human. And that's what they've done here. They've made him a happy character who is also like human and feels vulnerable. And is unafraid to show it, which is important. And the final thing is he's also conscientious. While he's playful and he'll play a prank and stuff, he is also knows that he's made a mistake and he's willing to apologize for it. So I think these are 4 traits which are the building blocks of a nice character, of a holistic character, complex and complete character.
Yeah. But do you not think he doesn't really have a flaw? Or does he?
I think his flaw, which I don't blame him for, is his inability to accept that he's different.
Sure.
And that is essentially what our logline is built on, right? He's unable to accept himself and that he's normal, that he's not normal. And which actually brings me to my next character technique, which is essential when you have a character arc, which any movie should, all good movies should. It's called the moral choice. So, when a character has completed their arc, how do you demonstrate that they've completed their arc? You give them, a choice where they're allowed to either pick something that their old self would have done, or they do something that their new self will do. And in this case, it is when they decide to send Jadoo back, right? And Jadoo says, if I go, you lose all your powers. Now think about old Hritik. Old Hritik was literally hiding Jadoo in a sack and carrying him around everywhere at the basketball match. He couldn't let go of the idea that Jadoo would ever leave him. Right? He had to keep him around because he hadn't accepted himself. But now, as he accepted himself and he saw his capabilities and what he could be, he found that self-acceptance. He was able to say that it's okay if my powers, if you go and all my intelligence and stuff goes away. So he does the right thing, which shows that he's arced, that he has come to accept himself for who he is. Go back to like facing all those bullies and not having Nisha. He accepts all that. He's like, it is my reality, it is who I am. And if people don't want to accept me as I am, fine, I accept myself. I'm going to let this go. So this was a good, this is a technique which is often used. And I'm sure as we review more films, we will see this used several times where characters make this choice, which reveals who they've turned into. And ideally, this question should work as a setup and payoff. If I were doing this, not in this film, but in Act 1, I would ask this question and I would see the character make a choice that's true to themselves then. And then in Act 3, I'd do it for them to see, to make this choice where they, pick what's true to them now, to show who they've turned into. So this is what I had in terms of character.
Now, I want to ask this another question, which I was thinking. Why is it that he's been given so many friends? Like, I know we spoke about to get the appeal of the audience, but from a more social, a more accurate point of view, like if somebody, who it would not be the worst idea for him to not have any friends. So for him to to seek belonging even more and seek acceptance even more.
I think it would go against the tone of the film. Because the film is meant to be light-hearted, it's meant to be fun. So if they isolated him, it would just turn into him being bullied all the time.
But it'll become Tare Zameen Par, I guess.
Which is a very different tone.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Next, I had a couple of scenes I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
Where I think, so the first scene I want to talk about is one where Rohit learns that Nisha is going to be marrying Raj. Right?
Yeah, I've also noted that same scene. Yeah.
So he goes to confront her. And this could have been a confrontation scene, right? Where he said that, what are you doing? How can you marry him? But instead, as he goes to confront her, Nisha approaches from the other end and she goes and pulls Raj out of the chair. And from Rohit's point of view, she's pulling him to be close to him because she loves him. He doesn't know that Nisha is actually angry at Raj because he's gone and told everyone that he is going to be getting married to her. And I liked how they've used misunderstanding as a form of conflict over there. Because conflict doesn't have to be two people going head to head with each other. It has to be that their goals are going head to head with each other, but the characters don't have to be.
Yeah.
So when we're creating conflict as an amateur writer, I think what a lot of people mistake for conflict is fighting, is action, is yelling at each other. But conflict is simply when you want something and it's not going your way. I think they use character very well because it's not within Rohit's character to confront Nisha. So how else
Hmm.
could they build this conflict? Then like how can we keep it quiet by having a misunderstanding?
Hmm.
So when you have a toolkit
Hmm.
of conflict, you have tension, jeopardy, all of that. I'd add misunderstanding to it too. But misunderstanding, the
Hmm.
caveat would be it has to be true to character.
Correct.
And another scene I wanted to talk about was when Rekha learns of Jadu's existence in the house. So
Oh. Hmm.
it's a very cliched scene, obviously, in the way that it's been played. I mean, Rekha's whole character is a discussion for a different podcast. Great film, guys, but Rekha was underutilized. So,
Okay.
yeah. But so she goes and she's, like angry and she's like, I'm going to report him to the police. I'm going to report him to the police. And as she goes to report him to the police, there's a call, right? Which is from the school's principal that, oh, your son answered this question today. And he's made progress, which turns her around. Now,
Oh.
uh, what I want to talk about is the fact that that call was a coincidence that saved the day,
Hmm.
right? And one of the biggest screenwriting rules we have is you can have a coincidence that makes things worse for your character.
War.
Yeah, but you can't have coincidence that makes things better for your character. Because that's the
Hmm.
ex machina, right? Like, however it's pronounced.
Hmm.
And but over here, it still works. And why does it work?
Hmm.
Because they've seeded it in before. They've seeded in
Hmm.
Rekha's relationship with the principal at the start of the film, where she goes to talk to him about the grades. We've seen Hritik answer the questions in class, and it's a big moment of celebration. So when that call
Hmm.
comes, you're not surprised. Also, from a time point of view, it's just after his school day. So that is also
Hmm.
when the principal would call. So they have padded it
Hmm.
up and protected themselves for all sides to make sure that that coincidence works. That it's,
Doesn't seem like
yeah,
one.
it doesn't seem like one. Exactly. So,
This scene to
yeah.
me is like how Indian parenting is. And I'm sure like you must have also felt it where we were the kids who were like, Humko finance nahi karna, we were gonna be screenwriting. Our parents were livid. But the moment we made a little bit of money, they're like, oh, do
Exactly.
it. Sure.
Exactly.
It's literally
That,
that.
yeah.
With Rekha, where she's like, oh, we can't have an alien in the house. Oh, but he's cured you. Fine.
That's good. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I have on scenes. Do you have any other scenes you want to highlight?
um, I want to talk a little bit about the basketball
Ooh,
match.
okay. Tell
Uh,
me.
because um, at this point in the story, you already know that Rohit has got the powers. He is almost a superhero of sorts at the moment. He has accepted the challenge of the bully that, oh, he's gonna challenge, play a basketball match, and whoever wins, he'll get a kiss from Nisha. Okay. Now,
Again, problematic, but they didn't even ask Nisha, right? They just went on,
yeah,
whoever wins this match, Nisha usko kiss karegi. Nisha standing right there. But no one asked
Yeah.
Nisha. Like,
It's almost seeming like she's deaf in that moment. Like, because he repeats the same line. So she's like, kiss? What
yeah.
kiss? I'm like, then you're not just here right now. But no. She's like, oh, मैं रोज को मैं इसको kiss
Yeah.
नहीं कर-" Anyway.
Yeah.
So, but in that moment with the audience, oh, a guy's gonna win the match. Right? Because he's a superhero right now. He has the powers. Why will he not win the match? But they extend that sequence to the max they can. They show the entire match almost
Yeah.
of sorts, where and and this is I thought they did it well because the tension kept going up and down. Like it wasn't a clean sweep of a match where from the very get go, because he's a protagonist is a superhero, he starts winning the points
Yeah.
immediately. There comes that dip in the sequence where they're not getting the
Yeah.
points, they're not scoring, because you realize that only like with the sunlight, the alien powers are activated.
Yeah.
So you have the dip in the moment. The tension is high. That oh my
Yeah.
god, he's not gonna win the match. But then they again have that the ex machina,
Yeah.
which what you're saying.
Yeah.
The sunlight does come, aliens powers are
Yeah.
activated, and then he wins the
Match.
match.
Yeah.
So I thought to pull that sequence off was a little bit of a good
It
technique.
was, yeah. And again, it goes to show that you can't have a scene or a sequence without conflict, right? Because it's empty, it's boring. If you just saw him
Yeah.
winning, dribbling that ball and like flying to the ring and like tossing it in, after him doing it 5 times,
Yeah.
it's repetitive. Then there's no scene. If
Yeah.
there's no conflict, there's no
Yeah.
scene. So they had to bring something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing I want to talk about is Johnny Lever's character a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay.
Because they we set him up in 4 scenes throughout the movie. Like, in fact, the entry of Johnny Lever's character is when you realize Rohit has aged.
Yeah.
That match cut in the film. The second thing is that you understand this guy is a little annoyed with Rohit, but he is the one who has the final, what do you say, the turnaround in the film, where he's the one who comes back and says, I've never felt a love as pure as this. So like, I'm gonna tell you they're taking him here, you go and save him.
Yeah.
So he becomes like an unlikely mentor throughout, and like in the end of the film,
Yeah.
which I thought they did it well because you don't expect him to behave this way. Even in the moment he's the one who catches Jadoo actually.
Yeah.
He is the one who alerts the authorities.
Yeah.
He's getting so excited when they're gonna open the sack and Jadu's gonna come out of
Yeah.
it. So I thought a little bit from tracking point of view,
Yeah.
like
What?
I thought they gave him the bigger arc.
Yeah, yeah. He is not an unlikely mentor. He is what they call in tropes a trickster character,
Oh.
I believe. Yeah, because this character also reminds me of that guy from Inside Out, the elephant character, where you can never
Huh.
trust him, right? Like you're just
Hmm.
like, is he going to screw them over? Is he not going to screw them over? And ultimately, he sacrifices himself, right, by jumping into that one thing. I
Hmm.
remember vaguely while watching Inside Out. So I think
Hmm.
even
Hmm.
Johnny
Hmm.
Lever is
Hmm.
an unpredictable character, and you're just like, is he the trickster? Is he going to rat them out? Is he not going to rat them out? Or that, and he
Hmm.
ultimately does the right thing. So he
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
play the trickster character.
I just want to talk actually about one. There is a
Yeah.
trivia a little bit, which is the final closing shot of the film, where we have Hritik Roshan and Preity Zinta at night time, and they have like we see a little bit of the
Patient.
spaceship's image.
Yeah.
Now, when I was told by somebody that back in the day, that Hindi movies shouldn't have ended with a night sequence as their last image because they were like, especially Yash Chopra was a big believer of that your final image of the film has to be daylight because that's the one that shows hope of some sorts. Like it, because otherwise it's despair, it's a little dark, it's dungeony of sorts. And if you'll notice, not many Hindi movies end with a closing image of nighttime. At least not the big budget commercial movies. Like even you take DDLJ for example. Like the wedding is happening at daytime. Like and the train sequence and the fight sequence is all happening daytime. The final image of the movie is the daytime. So most of these movies don't do that. And there's a very specific example I remember, but uh, the movie Dar was actually a thriller movie,
Okay.
but and the movie ends was supposed to end on a murderous note, like this guy is killed, and that's the end. But when they were doing test screening at that time, this got flagged off that we shouldn't have the night image as the closing image. So they finally have the main hero heroine just walking out of the airport la di da as the final shot of the film. And that's it's interesting to me, but because this film shows that, that was impressive. Broke that blanket rule. So
Yeah.
I was so yeah.
The next thing I have are a couple of dialogues which I wanted to talk about. The first one is the Bonvita dialogue, which
Okay.
initially it's telling of his character, right? That he goes on to like ask for Bonvita when he goes to someone's house. A very true to character, great, like over there. But what I found interesting was, and I actually took like a screenshot of this, like a video of this, and sent it to all our married friends, where it's Preity Zinta says, शादी कोई बॉर्नवीटा पीने जैसी नहीं है. Like something to that extent, that marriage is not about drinking Bonvita. And I flipped.
Yeah.
I fully flipped, okay? And what I thought was very well done is she picked something from his personality and brought it back in a dialogue. So
Yeah.
your dialogue in our first draft, it tends to be very, we say what's on the nose, right? Like you need to be an adult to be in a marriage and all of that. But she just picked a visual aspect of him, which they've established prior. Like there's an aspect of him that drinks Bonvita, and she's like, no, dude, like Shadi is not drinking Bonvita.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very well done. I think it didn't land as impactfully because she said it in the middle of a monologue. But had they isolated that dialogue and scene and played it out differently, I think that scene would have been very impactful.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think on a separate note, some side note, we need to analyze Hindi movies and equating marriages with some food items. Like, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani has like 50 saal dal chawal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I remember like there are more movies coming to my mind now, which I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
is that what they all think? Marriage.
And I have one more dialogue I want to point out. In general, coming back to your basketball match, I want to. I don't know how much attention you were paying, but I was paying so much attention to the commentator. Okay. And this takes me back to like Pixar films, right? Okay, again, where you have a joke that's for the adult and you have a joke that's for the kids. Like it's a double entendre, right? It works at two levels. Okay? They didn't double entendre it here, but what they did was, I was watching that scene as an adult, okay, and obviously it didn't have the same buy-in it had from me when I was 8 years old, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, this is so dumb. Like, why is there a basketball match between these grown-ass adults? One adult, Hritik Roshan, and this team is like tiny little kids. Okay? This makes no sense. But when you're a kid, that doesn't strike you, right? Because you're just excited to see a kid character. But then,
Yeah.
what they do is they have the commentator be the voice of reason. So that, like, the adult characters feel like there is some sense going on there. So there's this literal one dialogue which the commentator says, "लंबे लंबे खिलाड़ी के सामने ये नन्हे नन्हे खिलाड़ी क्या करेंगे?" He keeps using lambe lambe nane nane. It's like he has so unserious, which essentially like mimics the mood of adult audiences. So how do you keep your audiences engaged? And it's in the background, right? It's a commentator. So only someone who's not visually engaged in the match is paying attention to that, which is your adult. So I thought if that was done intentionally, and I think it probably was, it was very well done, like an unserious commentator.
It is done intentionally. All of these things, which is interesting. When now this is telling me like we can talk a little bit about the world.
Yeah.
That it's properly made for children.
Yeah.
Like the world of Rohit is that, even he's on a scooter, even the way he is rescuing Jadoo in the end, it's on a scooter until somebody tells him, "Ki, bhai, take the car." Like
Yeah.
till that time, all the kids are on the scooter, and it can seem all so juvenile.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, your basketball match is essentially the ordeal of the film, right? Like such a crucial point, but it's a basketball match which is not even brutal. It's so comical, essentially. It almost feels like it belongs in a film like Welcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's because they stayed true to the world so
Hmm.
much. I think it all stays in that
Hmm.
zone of like, oh, it's a very conscious note that, oh, how will 10-year-olds respond to
Hmm.
this? Is that why they don't have a kiss in the film, even though that's the bet?
Hmm. Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Cool. So that's it from our end.
Say closing thoughts on the film. What was your overall feeling?
I thought it was good for its time. I saw it at
Huh.
the right age.
Hmm.
If I hadn't seen it again, I wouldn't have missed something out as an adult. But it did help, like,
Hmm.
untraumatize me. So I won't get scared,
Yeah.
like, if a kid dresses up as Jadoo on for a fancy dress competition. I think it was
Yeah.
ambitious for its time. I
Hmm.
think it was a good introduction for Indian audiences to what the sci-fi space can hold. I don't know if we built
Yeah.
too much on it since.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are my thoughts. What are yours?
I was just impressed that they did this. Like it takes a huge amount of courage to like say, oh, I want to try something new. Like, and I just think they tried to have fun with
Yeah.
it, which I find it's so
Yeah.
important. Uh, it's interesting that somebody took that bold step
Hmm.
because at that time Hritik Roshan had also like coming from Kahuna Pyare, which is all like romantic comedies, like high romance comedies, dramas, to do like this children's film of
Yeah.
sorts, like, and to make so much money out of it. That's a brave, bold
Yeah.
step. So I was very impressed with that thought
Hmm.
process.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming along this nostalgic journey of breaking down and listening to trivia, which Akshay always brings us, and cultural commentary on Koi Mil Gaya. It the film that is, despite however it may have aged, very close to all of us and remembered very fondly by everyone. So I hope
Yeah.
this film, this breakdown, educated you a little bit, took you back to some good times in your life. And you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, and leave all your thoughts down in the comments. Good, the bad, the ugly. We will block you if they're bad and ugly, but let yourself out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's that.
that's that. Cool. Until next time. See ya.
Bye, guys.
Hi again, bestie. For our next episode, we'll be breaking down the film Badmaash Company. It's an underrated crime caper film, a genre Bollywood didn't explore much back then. So, yeah, come along for the journey, and we'll see you next Thursday.